The slap cracked through the marble lobby like a gunshot, shattering the quiet morning inside the Montgomery County Courthouse. Nathan Brooks, a 58-year-old black man wearing worn work boots and a rain-soaked denim jacket, staggered backward. His head snapped sideways as Deputy Russell Kane shoved him violently toward the heavy glass doors. High-priced attorneys, county clerk staff, and wealthy visitors stopped beneath the grand brass chandeliers to watch. Not a single person stepped forward. No one challenged the deputy. No one even bent down to help as Nathan's crumpled envelope scattered its yellowed pages across the polished floor. Deputy Kane pointed a heavy finger at Nathan's chest, his voice dripping with spite. "Your kind doesn't belong in these halls, old man. Take your garbage and get off county property before I throw you in a cell." Nathan did not shout. He did not swing. He did not lose his composure. Instead, he slowly lowered himself onto his aching knees, his weather-beaten hands trembling as he gathered his papers from the floor. These weren't ordinary documents. They were land deeds dating back 70 years to a small forgotten parcel of family soil in rural Alabama, soil his grandfather had cleared with bare hands and blood. For 3 months, Nathan had visited the clerk's office attempting to pay off an illegitimate tax lien meant to steal his family's property. And for 3 months, corrupt local officials had turned him away. Nathan wiped a trace of blood from his cheek, looked Deputy Kane dead in the eye, and quietly walked out into the pouring rain. He pulled an old flip phone from his jacket pocket and dialed a single number. "Son," Nathan said softly into the receiver, his voice tight with restrained dignity. "They won't take the payment, and the officer just put his hands on me." On the other end of the line, a long pause hung in the cold air. A calm and formidable voice answered, "Stay right where you are, Dad. I'm coming." To understand the weight of that quiet phone call, one must understand the roads Nathan Brooks had walked. Born in the red dirt country of Alabama during the height of systemic segregation, Nathan had known the sting of injustice from his very first breath. His father, Arthur Brooks, was a quiet farmer who believed that honest labor and land ownership were the only path to true freedom for a black family in the American South. Day after day, Arthur plowed fields under a blistering sun, enduring threats, unfair taxes, and the constant shadow of racial hostility. When Arthur passed away, he left his land to Nathan with a single directive: "Never sell this ground, son. It's the only place on earth where we stand tall." When Nathan grew older, he took a job at a local steel mill, breaking his back for 30 years to provide for his wife and his only son, Marcus. Money was always scarce. The roof leaked during storms, and dinner was often simple beans and cornbread. But Nathan passed down his father's relentless work ethic and unyielding self-respect to young Marcus. Every night at the kitchen table, Nathan would review Marcus's homework, repeating the same message. "They can take your money, Marcus. They can even try to take your dignity. But if you sharpen your mind, no man on earth can ever hold you down." Marcus listened. He studied by the soft glow of a desk lamp long after the rest of the neighborhood had gone to sleep. He earned a full academic scholarship to a prestigious university, leaving the small town behind. Over the next 2 decades, Marcus built an international logistics and private investment firm, rising to become one of the most powerful and influential black billionaires in the country. Yet, despite his immense wealth, Marcus never forgot where he came from. And he certainly never forgot the man who wore thin boots so he could wear polished leather. Exactly 10 minutes after Nathan was thrown into the rain, a strange, heavy quiet settled over the courthouse street. The distant roar of powerful engines rumbled through the downtown corridor. Pedestrians stopped on the sidewalks as a fleet of 10 jet-black SUVs turned the corner in perfect, synchronized formation. Escorted by private security personnel, the dark vehicles pulled directly into the courthouse loading zone, completely blocking the entrance. Inside the lobby, Deputy Kane watched through the glass doors, his hand reflexively drifting toward his sidearm. "What in the hell is this?" he muttered. The doors of the lead vehicle opened. Out stepped Marcus Brooks, flanked by 4 senior corporate attorneys and a team of former federal marshals. Marcus wore a bespoke charcoal suit, his expression cold and unreadable as he walked through the pouring rain. He didn't look at the crowd. He walked straight up to his father, who was standing beneath the courthouse overhang holding his wet envelope. Marcus gently inspected the red mark on his father's cheek. The billionaire's eyes turned to ice. "Are you all right, Dad?" "I'm fine, son," Nathan replied softly, touching his boy's arm. "Just another man who thinks a uniform gives him the right to erase us." Marcus turned toward the courthouse doors. "Not today." Marcus Brooks strode into the marble lobby, his father walking beside him with steady, measured steps. Behind them swept a team of lawyers carrying leather briefcases. The room became deathly quiet. Deputy Kane stepped forward, trying to maintain his authority, though his forehead was now slick with sweat. "Listen here, pal. I don't care who you think you are. This is county property." Before Kane could finish his sentence, Marcus's lead attorney stepped forward, pulling a thick binder of federal court orders from his briefcase. "Deputy Kane," the attorney said, his voice echoing off the marble walls, "you are currently interfering with a federal civil rights inquiry. 30 minutes ago, Mr. Marcus Brooks finalized the purchase of the banknote holding the county courthouse's municipal debt. Furthermore, we have filed an immediate federal injunction against this office for civil rights violations, systemic land fraud, and physical assault on a senior citizen." Deputy Kane's face drained of all color. He looked past the attorneys to the man he had slapped just minutes earlier, a man he had assumed was nameless, powerless, and poor. Marcus stepped closer to Kane, speaking in a low, resonant voice that held the attention of every official in the building. "You looked at my father and saw an old man in a wet jacket. You thought nobody was watching. You thought his story didn't matter. But the blood in his veins built the foundation I stand on. You didn't just strike an old man today. You struck every generation of my family that fought to survive people like you." Within 48 hours, the chief county administrator resigned. An internal affairs investigation was opened into Deputy Kane's conduct, and the fraudulent tax lien against the Brooks family land was dismissed with prejudice. Marcus and Nathan returned to their small piece of Alabama soil later that week. Standing on the porch that Arthur Brooks had built 70 decades prior, the billionaire and his father watched the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky in gold. In a world that continually judges a person's worth by the clothes on their back and the color of their skin, Nathan Brooks proved a timeless truth. Dignity isn't defined by the status you hold, but by the strength of the legacy you leave behind.